Welcome back. Now, Greyeno Rustberg is the owner of Grey's Cakes, a business that's centered around making every special occasion memorable in the form of a sweet treat. And he is our Monday Man Crush treat for this week. He now joins us this evening. Greyeno, good evening and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Good evening, Nina. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Your first time here, but we hope we'll have you back lots of times in the future.
Hopefully, yes.
Talk to us about how a software developer,
Yes.
Falls in love and also becomes so talented with baking.
So this comes down to an inspiration, actually. A lot of people have asked me this question where this all started. It started with a lady called Isadora Nial. So she's like a second mom to me. She's a neighbor where Grey's kitchen resides. So she used to bake a lot of sweet treats and cakes for us while we would play in the street. And, one day I actually just stopped by and looked at what she was doing, and I just replicated the recipe that she gave me. And from there, I guess the rest was history.
How long ago was that?
Let me see, if my memory serves me well, that's 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, 2014.
So almost a decade ago.
Almost a decade ago, yes.
And talk to us about when Grey's Cakes, was established, the business.
So I like giving two dates. Since I'm self-taught, I like giving 2015 as one of the dates. That's basically when I put flour and sugar all together. And then
Right.
I like giving a second date, which is 2020. That's when Grey's Kitchen, basically the parent company of Grey's Cakes, was established in terms of fully registered and, just the whole...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The formal business.
Formal business,
Right.
exactly.
What challenges, I'm sure there have been many, as any business owner would tell you, have you, encountered in establishing and growing this business?
I think looking back from the span of the 5 years, from 2015 to 2020, I think that's the part where you put in, the hard work, the grit, making the capital, and then growing your business from there. Because I know definitely a lot of owners have that issue of having capital, but I will delve into the answers on what you can do to obviously gain your own capital while obviously looking for other forms of funding on the sides.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us, please.
Okay, so one thing when it comes to business, purely also in Namibia, is understanding the term cash flow. Does your business create the cash flow for it to self-sustain itself, basically? Right. The overheads that you have on a monthly basis, paying suppliers, and if you're at that stage where your business employs people, can it also employ people on a really fixed rate and not close down? And that's one of the things I've definitely picked up is cash flow. Branding is, I think I'd put it above cash flow.
I was just about to say, it's not as important, probably more important.
It's exactly, because it's a continuous cycle. There's always a time to even rebrand your business, give it a new, fresher look. When it comes to branding, it also speaks to, is your business on all the different platforms it needs to be for your people to know what exactly your business does. We have your social platforms, maybe Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as well. Yeah. People really discourage LinkedIn, but you never know who's on that platform. There's Twitter as well, but then just know your niche of business, what platforms will really speak to yours. And then obviously we have, I think the most powerful for me personally is the mouth of word. So this speaks to the WhatsApps, because people posting your business and just knowing that there is a business that saves to this specific problem that someone has. Yeah. In this case, there's a birthday every day. So Grey's Cakes is there for it.
Fantastic. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, always, supplying the sweet treats for special occasions and celebrations. So is there any notable occasion that comes to mind that you've had the pleasure of baking for?
There's always one that comes back to me. Would I say it pleasure? I'm not sure. It was quite a stressful one to pull off. It was for the MD for one of the prominent banking firms where I reside, my software development job. So it had to do with the Liverpool Stadium, so a section of it. It's called the COP. So we had to recreate a stadium, but obviously through
cake. In the form of a cake.
In the form of a cake. And I think I had to call 2 baker friends for that to pull it off, because it was quite, it's challenging. And
Yeah.
that's the good thing about baking and the IT world I find myself in, is that there's always new challenges and there's always something new to learn. Does not matter how well versed you are or the expertise that you have, there's always something new to learn, and it's always therapeutic every time. So yeah, that was the most challenging one, and we finally actually managed to pull it off, and they loved it.
Baking definitely is a very specific and very special art form, and as you mentioned, it's challenging, and you have to keep, I think, as a baker that wants to stay on top of their game, have to keep learning new skills and perfecting this art. So what would you say? I know you said that you are self-taught, but what do you think makes, a really good and excellent, amazing pastry chef?
I think you should have that touch of creativity. You are always put in a situation where you need to improvise. A client may give a specific design, and then I always tell people, work with what you have, and based on what you have, you should always know how to improvise that based on the design that the client gives you. Another thing that I would say one should have as a pastry chef should be detail orientated. And there's always that thing of, if your customer service is top notch, I think you're a step ahead of the rest.
Yes.
I think that's one area that we lack in this country is definitely customer service. So if you can learn to improve that every time, and the critics that you get from clients, never take that as a bad way, always take that as a learning for the next client or for the same client at another time.
Fantastic. Sound advice indeed. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, Greyeno, but thank you so much for joining us. We've had our first birthday here at the Daily Roundup on the 11th of April. So hopefully next year we'll get you on board and you can bake
Most
our
definitely.
cake for our 2nd anniversary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
That's Greyeno speaking to us, the owner of Grace Cakes, who we're celebrating today as our Man Crush Monday. That's also all the time we've got for this evening show. We're back tomorrow evening, same time and place.